The jump cut or match cut is one of the simplest but most powerful tools in visual effects. From Georges Méliès to Zach King, jump cuts have been used to transform things, to make things appear, and to make things disappear. In this video, I'll be sharing a few tips and tricks on how to seamlessly stitch two shots together. For an easy seamless jump cut, all you need is movement. It's easy to hide your cut using the motion of something in your shot. As we look here frame by frame, the position isn't perfectly matched, but as long as there is continuous movement, the jump cut works. Sometimes you have to leave the frame, change your clothes, and return to your original position. Zach King shares this overkill technique that he uses to return to his original position after a clothes change.
We have a little overkill techniques where people will come in and hold each major joint of my body. It's kind of awkward, but people will come up and just it feels like they're hugging you, and then you like wiggle out of the position.
Really?
Go to the bathroom, change really quick, come back, wiggle in, and then they line you back up.
You can connect your camera to a laptop and use software such as Dragonframe to create markers or guides on the screen in order to perfectly line up your two shots, like in this example by Parry. If a movement doesn't always align, you can always do a bit of rotoscoping or masking. Here, the t-shirt that I throw doesn't quite match up with the second shot, with the t-shirt already on the clothesline. For 2 frames, I cut out the t-shirt and repositioned it to facilitate the jump cut. During the cuts between two shots, you may need a frame of a dissolve or a fade. Sometimes, more complicated masking and fading might be required. Here, the jump cut is pretty good, but I did a bit of masking to give the impression that the wetsuit is coming off bit by bit, instead of all at once. If the lighting or background changes slightly in the cut, you may want to mask certain areas of your frame and fade between them. In this example, the jump cut is good, but the sky, walls, and floor are a slightly different colour, so I masked those areas out and set a keyframe of 0 for the opacity of the second shot a few frames before the cut, and then set it to 100 a few frames after the cut. The jump cut is now seamless, and our eye isn't distracted by changes around the action. There may be instances where you want the jump cut to occur in a shot with relatively little movement. For example, in this shot where I throw a couple of clove pegs onto my clone, I had to stand still while the pegs were placed on my ears. Unfortunately, I moved a little during the two shots. The jump cut really stands out. Fortunately, we can use Premiere's morph cut for just a few frames to smooth out this cut. But remember, the morph cut only works for small mismatches in position. In this video, I had to stitch together these two shots to give the impression that my surfboard transforms itself into a nining board. Premiere's morph cut didn't really work, as you can see fading and weird distortions in the background. I needed something more precise. Luckily, I came across this research project on morphing that was accompanied by a downloadable program. I first rotoscoped myself and exported the 2 frames I needed to blend together. I imported them into the program and started placing correspondence points on both the first and end frame, placing points for all important features on the first frame and matching those points to the corresponding features in the end frame. After placing 50 or so points, the program then does its magic and is able to blend the 2 shots reasonably well. We obtain an image sequence with 100 frames, and I picked 7 or 8 frames to create the transition. Finally, to hide the transition slightly, I added an abrupt camera shake at the transition. I hope you found these tips and tricks useful, and you're able to bring your jump cuts to the next level. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.